Years ago, I read Down and Out in Paris and London by George Orwell. That book was published in, the early part of the 1930s. And I just remember, reading that book and him talking about bugs that were coming out at night and feeding on him and how he managed them with all sorts of kind of toxic and really potent mixtures of I suppose, early day insecticides. And I think, bed bugs have always been with us. You look at children's nursery rhymes and not letting the bed bugs bite when we go to bed. And, historically, these go right back to the Roman times. And there was a time in the UK where we'd kind of just got rid of them. And with well travel and uh, the flourishing hotels and I suppose like the rising middle class as well, what we've got is people moving around, whether that's public transport, whether that is things like hotels and Airbnbs and all the rest of it. And it's really allowed the bed bugs to take hold again. Um, and when you start looking at temperature as well, and that's such a big part to play in this. We pretty much all have in this country central heating, so there's this ambient temperature all the time. So with 24/7, 365, we have bed bugs crawling around our homes. Thankfully, it's not every homes, and some people can confuse bed bugs with dust mites, and they're two entirely different things. But essentially, a bed bug is a parasite, and it lives off mammals, and quite often the mammal is us. And I've said that many times before that you know dogs and cats can be hosts, but a lot of the times, and especially when we get called out, it is a human that is the host. And these things feed um, quite prolifically, really, and they go through a life cycle of 7 stages, from egg right the way through to adult. The adult can live for up to a year, um, and when they get adult form and they're laying eggs, they're laying 5 eggs every single day, and they range from egg being a millimeter right the way through to that adult being 5.5 millimeters. And um, you know the, we call them bed bugs because that's a great place for them to be, because we're in that location for a period of time. They live in cracks and crevices, so think of headboards, mattresses, the slats of the bed, skirting board, even things like sofas and behind wallpaper, curtains. I mean, you name it. If it can get, if it's a crack and a crevice, you'll find them. But we've had some horrendous cases, and we've found things, bed bugs, and lots of them in like seams of clothing and behind clocks and in furniture. And we could really move in on that and onto some case studies, but that's not for today. Um, but yeah, these things will feed 3 to 5, or beg your pardon, 3 to 10 minutes at a time when they get on. And not everyone reacts to a bed bug either. So some people come out in blotches, some people come out in bites, quite often in lines as well. So when you've put your arm, for example, next to your duvet, and then they'll come and they'll feed in one line. So you can sometimes get that. And some people do not react at all. Again, we've had people sleeping in the same bed. One has reacted really badly and one has not reacted at all. It's only on further investigation you find out that, the bed bugs, but they're very visible, when you've got them. Um, and really, when you have got them and the treatment out there, this is when I would really suggest you get professionals in, and it's all about being thorough and being really diligent, because these things can cause not just physical damage with puncture marks and bites, and that can lead to irritation sometimes as well. But it can lead psychologically to horrendous anxiety, and I don't think people appreciate the psychological impact that having this invasive parasite, quite often when you are in bed, when you should be most vulnerable. That's what a bed's about, and getting to sleep. And when you feel like, yeah, you've been invaded, it can cause major anxiety. And yeah, definitely, if you've got them, get a professional in to treat properly and really thoroughly. But some ways to prevent, and if you do get them, it'll kind of keep levels down. Cleaning your bedding is really good. A good weekly wash of your bedding. I've heard of cases of people just having bedding on for months and months and months at a time, and you want to be changing your bedding every week. Get it into a wash, and at the same time, vacuum your mattress, turn your mattress, and give it a good inspect. If you've got a steamer, steam the mattress as well and the slats. Wash clothes thoroughly, especially your outside jackets and things, and especially if you are travelling on public transport. I mean, one of the major things the last year is that we haven't travelled that much. So our bed bug numbers from a company's point of view have gone down because we've been so isolated. Yet some of the worst infestations we're finding are when we're going in now, because they've been allowed to blossom, and where cleaners would come in normally, potentially, especially when there's those that are most vulnerable, and that's quite often when you get the worst cases. It's those most vulnerable in our society. They've been allowed to grow and grow these infestations. So although we're not getting as many now, when we do find them, we are finding that they're quite bad. So washing clothes, good vacuum, steam and mattress, washing bedding, and then really just thoroughly cleaning the property, good vacuum, and then emptying the vacuum. All this stuff will prevent and keep numbers down. But yeah, if you've got a problem, I would absolutely recommend that you get a professional company in to get rid of these parasites.